Hello, good morning to all my dear students. Today we will learn a very important chapter that is named as poverty. Poverty is a situation where nobody wanted to live. Nobody wanted to live, neither you nor I. And it's a challenge to our economy, it's a challenge to entire humanity, it's a challenge to a country. In fact, the framework of our country, since independence, they have been trying to how to eradicate the poverty, how to eliminate the poverty. Today we will learn first poverty, its meaning. Actually, what do you mean by poverty? We will try to know its concept, actually the meaning of poverty. Then we will learn how to estimate the poverty. Then we will learn how to identify the poor peoples. Then we will learn what are the various schemes or what are the various measures the government have taken in order to eradicate the poverty. We will also learn about the various committees are there. In the beginning we will learn what it is actually. Then at the end I will tell actually what the possible objective questions the various examiner may ask. Okay dear students, listen. Poverty, as I said, it's a challenge to an economy. Okay, here nobody wanted to live over here. Poverty can be of two types. One is the absolute poverty and another one is the relative poverty. Poverty can be of two types. One is the absolute poverty and another one is the relative poverty, right? In our country, mainly in India, we generally measure absolute poverty. Officially, mainly we measures absolute poverty. Absolute poverty means it's a situations. It's a situations where a person is denial of even basic necessities of life. It's a situations where a person is denial of even basic amenities of life. That is, as we know very well, roti kapda makan na. Like that is which one? Food, cloth, and shelter. So a person which is denial of a minimum basic necessities of life, that person can be called as poor. Okay, it is clearly since early at present the government have taken number of steps to eradicate all these things, but earlier days now it was clearly visible in the form of starvation, hunger. Okay, alright. And absolute poverty, it's a greater challenge to the entire world. Simultaneously, it's a denial of this. It's a denial of, in fact, human right. We can say it's a denial of human rights. Alright. Clear? So far what we understood, poverty can be of two types, absolute and relative. And in our country, mainly officially we measure of absolute poverty, not relative poverty. Yes, unofficially or informally we may measure the relative poverty. Relative poverty can be of through, that is, I will tell, through the Lorentz curve. Oh, through Gini coefficient. Through Gini coefficient. I will tell all these, yeah. In fact, relative poverty, it means that we compare to someone else, we compare to some other countries. He may be or she may be getting all the basic amenities, but in compared to someone else, he may be poor, right? But let's confine here absolute poverty, right? So far what we understood, poverty can be of two types, absolute and relative poverty. A very important, let me tell you, a very important concept. In fact, all the media, the people, everyone, they discuss about poverty line. What is that? That poverty line. Here we will learn actually what we mean by poverty line. Then we will learn meaning of poverty line, the various importance of poverty line, then is there is any limitations of poverty line, we will learn all this. Okay, what is that? Poverty line. Poverty line. Fine. Poverty line. It's a benchmark. Those who are above the point or above the line, they may be called as have, or they may be called as non-poor, and those who are below it, they are called as have not or poor, or they are called as above the poverty line, and here they are called as below the poverty line. Fine. So it's a line where, it's a benchmark where those who are above it, they are called as non-poor, or they have, or they are called as above the poverty line, and those who are below it, they are called as below the poverty line. Fine. Here one thing we need to understand. So it's a benchmark fixed by some government or anyone, right? That where let 1,000 rupees. Those who are getting 1,000 rupees in a month, we will say that they meet their all the basic necessities of life. It means that all the basic necessities of life can be purchased or consumed through the rupees 1,000. Okay. So those who are above it, those who are earning more than 1,000, we will call them APL, and those who are earning less than 1,000, we may call them let 990, or they may call us below the poverty line. Fine, guys, and let 1,010 to 1,200, etc. Fine. In fact, so clear now, poverty line is a benchmark, or it is a fixed by government or various institutions, where those who are above it, they are called as above the poverty line, and those who are below that, they are called as below the poverty line. Fine. It has many limitations, guys. For example, as here I mentioned, a person who is earning 1,010, okay, it means that those who are above the poverty line, we know that they are not getting that much of benefit, but those who are below the poverty line, they are getting large number of benefits. But nearer to the poverty line, that do not shows the clear pictures. Fine. How it do not shows the clear picture? Because a person who is earning 990, he is getting all the amenities, but so it means that in real sense he may be rich because he is getting all the amenities of the government, but he do not, or he does not. So here the problem arises. So that is the reasons this poverty line approach, it is not much more good to identify the real poor peoples, right? But here it is also helpful. How? It is also helpful in order to know how many peoples are there. How many peoples are there who are below the poverty line, and how many peoples are there who are above the poverty line. Okay, so here we can say a very important concept, another concept that comes, that head count ratio. It means that the number of poor peoples, the number of, head count ratio, you can say the total number of BPL, total number of BPL, and the total number of population, total number of populations, and as it is expressed in percentage, so into 100. So the total number of BPL to the total number of populations are called as head count ratio. Are called as head count ratio, right? So we understood. In fact, here another things there. Head count ratio. Okay, head count ratio, got it? Write it, guys. Head count ratio is the total number of BPLs to the total number of populations are called as head count ratio. Write it, guys. Write it. Okay, fine. Next. But it shows the incidence of poverty. It tells about the incidence of poverty. Head count ratio tells about the incidence of poverty. Write it first. Head count ratio tells about the incidence of poverty. It do not tells about the intensity of poverty. Or you can say the number of BPLs to the household to the total number of population's household. Fine. Clear? So we understood. So the head count ratio tells about the incidence of poverty, but it do not tells about the intensity of poverty. It do not tells about the intensity of poverty. Fine. Tells about the intensity of poverty. Okay. So here we need to learn. अब तक कान पढ़ना हमें so far. Poverty कहले कान absolute poverty, relative poverty. India रे mainly absolute poverty आमे measure करसु officially, non officially तो relative poverty भी. But तापर आमे देखला poverty line गोटे benchmark. एंता line टे fix करा जिबा बा करा जायसी. जेंथरे तार ऊपर जेन माने तांको कहा CFL तार तले का below the poverty line. Fine. Next. तापर हम देखला हेड काउंट रेशियो कहले कना टोटल नंबर ऑफ पुअर पीपल्स. ओके, टोटल नंबर ऑफ पुअर पीपल्स out of the total population. So the number of BPL household to the total number of population's household into 100 as it is shown in the percentage. केते परसेंट तापर इंडिया रे पुअर पीपल्स अछन. तापर नेक्स्ट head count ratio, it gives the pictures of about incidence of poverty, but it do not tells about the intensity of poverty. It do not tells about the intensity of poverty. The intensity of poverty हमें केनु पाइसा? Intensity of poverty हमें पाइसा poverty gap index. Poverty gap index. पहला बुझी मा. एटा ଗୋଟେ लाइन कहितली. जनता मीना कहितले 1010 जण इनकम करू जण 990. ओके, लाइक poverty line हला 1000. आउ जणे यदि 600 इनकम करथो तार भीतर केते डिफरेंस होचे कि नै? There is a difference are there within them. So in which extent the poverty is there, that head count ratio they do not tell. It tells from the poverty gap index. It tells from the poverty gap. Next is poverty gap ratio, right? Poverty gap ratio. Fine. Poverty gap index. Poverty gap index. Okay. Poverty gap index. Poverty gap index. बुझिगलो तो पार्टा. Poverty gap index may be poverty gap divided by poverty line. Poverty gap divided by poverty line. Fine. Noted, guys. Clear, huh? So here one thing in our country, how to estimate the poverty. We understood the meaning of poverty. In fact, one more thing here. Poverty here we have measured in terms of what? Income, because income is one of the source. But poverty has many kind of dimensions. When a person is unable to take certain decisions, he may be poor. Okay, so poverties have many phases are there. Illiteracy, okay, ill health, unhealthy, okay, lack of electricity, lack of water, lack of sanitation. All these are the various dimensions of poverty. So far we have only I have told about the absolute one, but the poverty has many dimensions. Lack of education, lack of medical facilities, All these are the various dimensions of poverty, right? I will tell in detail about the other dimensions in later on, but next, how to estimate the poverty in our country? Estimations of poverty माने केते लोग अछन, as I already told, through the head count ratio. So far what the government did, what we have did, we are going to celebrate 75th year of independence ना, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव आमे टिके जानी जाइथिमा कि इंडिया रे अमृत महोत्सव आमे टिके जानी जाइथिमा कि इंडिया रे in relate to poverty what the improvement have so far taken place or what the way forward is there. We will discuss estimations of poverty that can be through the before independence and after independence. Before independence we know that Dada Bhai Nauroji, the grand old man of India, he tried to estimate the poverty, right? Next, another one is the National Planning Committee, first National Planning Committee in the year 1938. National Planning Committee in the year 1938. Then another one is the Bombay Plan. Okay. In fact, in Bombay Plan, they tried to estimate the poverty that those peoples who earn 75 rupees in a year or above that they are called as non-poor. माने जदि 75 टका से माने कमौछन जदि 75 rupees वर्षे के कमौछन as per the Bombay Plan, right? Then they are called as non-poor. अब 75 रो तो गुटे मिल ना सो एवरेज सिनेरियो ये देखमा. But here I am telling about the Bombay Plan 1944, I think. Fine. So all these are the various measures before independence they tried to estimate the poverty, right? First one is who? By Dada Bhai Nauroji. Then National Planning Committee they did. Then the Bombay Plan. Fine. Then the Bombay Plan. Okay guys, बुझला कि नहीं? Before independence, little bit please mentions that before independence. Okay. And in fact, one important question to ask is Dada Bhai Nauroji is the grand old man, as I said, he has written a very important book named as Poverty and on British Rule in India. Poverty and on British Rule in India. Poverty and on British Rule in India. Please write down Poverty and on British Rule in India. Written by whom? Dada Bhai Nauroji. And I clearly explained there how the British policies resulted the poverty in India, right? In this book. Okay. And as I clear this one, next. I said National Planning Committee, they also tried to estimate the poverty. What they do? They said if a person, if an individual is earning 15 rupees in rural areas and 20 rupees in urban areas, okay, then they are called as non-poor. Okay, क्या बेटा 1938 रे नेशनल प्लानिंग कमिटी काना कहला कि जदि जने पर्सन 15 टका इनकम करूचे मासे के हला ताहा हेले ताहा के नॉन पोर गरीब नहीं कहा जाय बा 15 अधिक 16 टका हला ओके बट ताकु यदि कम हला दे आर कॉल्ड एज poor as per the 1938 national planning committee. Okay, the chairman it was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru during that time. Fine. In fact, during that time the value of money was quite high. Say time for a bit one, ever we can say more than 2000 like that. Okay, or that may be vary. So we have understood. Next one is the Bombay Plan. A group of business persons, they try to estimate the poverty and they define that 75 rupees. I already told. So we are discussing about the estimations of poverty. कि केते जन अछन आ एटा केनता करी before independence रे एटा तीनटा किछि ओडे स्टेप निया हेतला but after independence that is very important. After independence that is very important. So you understood Dada Bhai Nauroji National Planning Committee, then Bombay Plan. Okay, after independence, we know that कि planning commission was constituted. Planning commissions was constituted. In fact, planning commissions, when it was constituted, mentioned in comment box. Let me tell you a little bit. Planning commissions during that time, after we got independent, now we have the resources were limited, but the wants were unlimited, and many more things need to be carried out. And it was the planning during that time. USSR, United Soviet Rus during that time, or Soviet Union, they had adopted the planning, was the approach for the development, and we have followed them. And planning is the best way where we have limited resource, we can utilize that resource efficiently or optimally or maximally, right? And we have adopted that. Planning commissions, they frame the policies, they frame the programs in our country since beginning, right? At present, the planning commissions, the successor planning commissions, Niti Aayog, we know, guys. Okay. In fact, that time not a constitutional body. Niti Aayog or planning commissions is not a constitutional body. Questions may ask, is it a constitutional or not? It's not a, because it is not framed from the constitution, right? Okay. After independence, with regards to estimate of poverty, planning commissions played a vital role. It played a very, very important role, right? And it constituted a number of committees to how to estimate the poverty. And with that regards, in the year 1962, they have constituted a working group. Then in the year 1979, they have constituted another committee. That is very, very important, guys. Okay. In 1962, another one. In the year 1977, YK Alak committee was constituted, who have submitted their report in 1979. First one, working group, then YK Alak committee. Okay, Dr. YK Alak. Then another one, Lakadawala. That one constituted in the year 1989, and they submitted their report in 1993. And most important, that one is in the year 2005, another committee was constituted named as Tendulkar Committee. Okay, named as Tendulkar Committee. That committee was constituted in the year 2005, and they submitted their report in 2009. And as for Tendulkar Committee methodology only, the last estimations of poverty, official estimation of poverty, we derive from here only. Okay. And that in the year 2011, the number of poor people as per this methodology was only published. And after that, also another committee was also constituted, named as Rang Rajan Committee in the year 2012. And they submitted their report in the year 2014. Okay, बुझुचता काना बुझला poverty माने काना absolute relative head count ratio. तारपर आमे बुझला कि head count ratio रा incidence of poverty आमे जानी पारसा, intensity केते नहीं जानी पारो. Clear? तारपर आमे देखला कि estimations of poverty केते लोग अछन माने केनता भी estimate करा ऐसी. और आमर country level before independence किछि गुडा स्टेप निया हेछि के जेंता कि म कहली दादा भाई नौरोजी, तापर कहटा Bombay Plan, then the National Planning Committee, etc. After independence, planning commissions, it played a very, very important role with regards to estimate the poverty. Planning commission, it constituted a number of committee to estimate the poverty, how to measure the poverty. Okay, how to estimate the poverty, not measure, right? How to estimate the poverty. And in that regard, it constituted a various number of committees. And the first committee in the year 1962, working group, then Second one 1977, they submitted their report in 1979. It is also called as YK Alag committee. This one it is called as the YK Alag. Dr. YK Alag. Dr. YK Alag committee. Fine. Dr. YK Alag. And next one called as the Lakdawala committee. What is that? Lakdawala. Lakdawala. This one called as the Tendulkar committee. Tendulkar committee. This one called as C. Rangarajan. This one called as C. Rangarajan. So clear. इधर chronology आसवा कहार पर कहार पर केन कमिटी constitute planning commissions करितला ई जिनिसटा मने रखबाटा बहुत इंपोर्टेंट राइट ये पहला वर्किंग ग्रुप तापर वाईके अलग लकड़ावाला तापर तेंदुलकर मेथोडोलॉजी तापर रंगराजन इने केतरा जिनिस chronology तो आसवा तार संगे बुझमा से माने काना काना कहितिले आउ सेटा गवर्नमेंट एडॉप्ट कला कि नै काना कहितिले आउ गवर्नमेंट एडॉप्ट कला कि नै गुटे जिनिस इनोपोलेजिमा लाइक नेशनल वर्किंग ग्रुप जने पहला करे कि पॉवर्टी एस्टिमेट करवा दिगरे पहला स्टेप निहाला वाईके अलग गुटे जिनिस कहले हला कि ओके दे फर्स्ट टाइम दे टोल्ड कि तांगर पूर्वरु आउ गुटे भी ऑन ऑफिसर दांदेकर रथ बोली कि दे टोल्ड कि पॉवर्टी and I can write so discuss करते हैं absolute poverty. They told about कि how to माने estimate the poverty on the basis of calorie requirement कहले. केन basis रे कहले calorie requirement. ये कहले दांदेकर बोले कर. I think ये दांदेकर right. VM दांदेकर and रथोले. But YK अलग पहला करे कहले first time they said कि which one if a person पहला तो लिखिन हलो तो YK अलग 7700 constitute करथला कि planning commission they submitted their report 1979 it I got it Lakdawala 1989 it was constituted submitted report in 1993 Tendulkar committee constituted 2005 submitted report in 2009 fine YK अलग काना से कहली कि गुटे पर्सन जदी रूरल एरिया रे रहूचे आउ ताके 2400 कैलोरी मिलुचे काना कैलोरी ऑफ फूड बा तानु अधिका ताके हमें पॉवर्टी लाइन ऊपर रखमा आर जदी ताके कम मिलुचे पॉवर्टी लाइन तले रखमा एटा केन रूरल एरिया इफ a person who is managed to get 2400 calorie then he will be considered as or she will be considered as non poor okay but in the case of urban areas he has fixed 2100 calorie why the difference is there in rural areas the people they consume more because they mainly engaged in the physical work hala आजिकल यार क्या न फिजिकल वर्क कमे गला न मोबाइल रे टिके बेसी वर्क यूज बाय द वे clear this one but what he said during that time mainly people were engaged in the physical one so they need more calorie that is the reason he has fixed more okay and in urban area 2100 calorie तो देखिए कहितले डॉक्टर YK अलग कमिटी क्लियर बुझि गला हमें नेक्स्ट वन जेते बेला हमें ई जिनिसटा देखमा एते कैलोरी पाइवार लागि केते टंका खर्चा करबा के पड़बा है जिनिसटा भी he has during that time I think 816 clear ई पाटा बुझलो 2400 calorie in the rural areas or 2100 calorie in the urban areas हला और एते जिनिस पावा के हला रूरल एरिया रे केते टका दरकार 816 आ अर्बन एरिया रे 1000 इने गुटे जिनिस पर देखमा कैलोरी इने अधिका আছে 2400 इने के 2100 बट स्टिल अर्बन एरिया रे अधिका टका खर्च करबा के पडुचे बुझी परछो तो व्हाई सो वी नो दैट साग टिके भी हले किनवा के पडवा गां रे जे माने घरे भी हे जाइथिबा आ जो भी जने दे देबा like that. So it means that the more amount of rupees will be spent in the urban areas as compared to the rural areas at present also, right? Clear this one? এটা কি YK अलग calorie requirement विषय कहले. Next one लकड़ा वाला. He said that have method टा continue चालू बोली कहले. तर he has not changed much more thing of that, right? He didn't clear. Next one is the Tendulkar group of methodology. This is very very important. Tendulkar group of methodology. Okay, which one? Tendulkar group. Tendulkar, why it is called? It is not Sachin Tendulkar. It is Suresh Tendulkar. One of the economics is there. Planning commissions constituted this committee in the year 2005 under the chairmanship of Suresh Tendulkar. That is the reason it is called as Tendulkar methodology. And they have submitted their report to the planning commissions in the year 2009. And what they said? आगुर का calorie exercise चलथिला. He said that it should not be only calorie. He said that it should not be only calorie. It should be from calorie to nutrients. Calorie to nutrients. Okay. In fact, government have adopted his principles and he defined. Okay. He defined the poverty line. He defined the poverty line for the. Okay. He defined the poverty line. Which one? Tendulkar committee methodology, right? Tendulkar committee methodology. And he said, as I said already, calorie to nutrient stuff. Next one. And as for that, a national poverty line was fixed. National poverty line was fixed in the year 2011 or 12. Okay. And who have recommended that one? Tendulkar committee methodology. And what is that poverty line? What is that poverty line? That is rupees 816 per capita per month. 816 per capita per month for the rural areas. And 1000 per capita per month for the urban areas. So YK अलग से तो 2400 और 2100 कैलोरी कहते हैं. अब है जब 816 और 1000 के कन्वर्ट भी कहला तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी रो बेसिस रे. अब तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी रो बेसिस के इंडिया रो नेशनल पॉवर्टी लाइन से हिसाब रे कैलकुलेट करा जायसी बा एबे जदी किछि इंडिया रे केते परसेंट पोर अछन कहला केन बेसिस रे कहला तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब रे. अब से हिसाब रे केते जदी जणा पर्सन गुटे लोग जदी रूरल एरिया रे 816 टका कमौचे हला गुटे मास से चली जीवा सो बेसिक नेसेसिटीज बोली धरा जाउचे. बट इट मे नॉट और इन फैक्ट इट इज नॉट ट्रूथ, राइट? एंड 1000 रुपीस जदी अर्बन एरिया रे, राइट? तार माने गुटे फैमिली रे जे 5 जन लोग रहउथिबे ताहले केते 5000 टका जदी जने इनकम करतेबा ताहले तार फैमिली के कहलिबा नॉन पुअर. ऑलराइट, clear? And as for this basis, so this one clear? As for this लिखला तो आले टिके पॉज करो और पॉज के लेकर लिखी होगा per capita per month. Okay, clear this one? And as for that basis in our country the poverty line or the number of poor, the last official estimations that is there, and as for this basis or in the year 2011-12 the number of poor people in our country was 21.9%. Okay, 21.9%, that is more than 269 million or 26.9 crore we can say. Fine, 26.9 crore ana bhari korcho to ekete 2011-12, but not at present of that absolute poverty is there. Government have eradicated and we have improved a lot in this sector. So this one we understood, guys. Okay, pani take care, rest now, take care. स्टार्ट करो। ओके पानी फेण पीला तो ठीक अच्छे लिसन ले सो तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी आम है हिसाब रे डाटा टिके हम देखि देमा कि इंडिया रे केते परसेंट थिले इंडिया का तो कहली आ ओडिसा रे टिके केनटा हमें ऑफिशियल बॉडी लाइन केन बेसिस रे तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी आ ओडिसा रे केते राइट आ ईयर देखमा ईयर देखले तो हम जानि पारमा कि पॉवर्टी कमी थिला कमी छे कि नहीं 1973 74 रे इंडिया रे केते परसेंट पॉवर्टी थिले तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब रे हेटा टी देखमा आउ नेक्स्ट वन वी विल लुक केनटा ना हमर ओडिसा रे फाइन इंडिया रे 54.88 केते 54.88 जेंटा की कमी करी केते 21.92 है 21.92 है ओडिसा रे केते थिले 66 थिले केते 66.18 टू 32.59 इटा हेड काउंट रेशियो जे नंबर ऑफ पुअर नहीं कहउतले बिगिनिंग रे हटा ही हेड काउंट रेशियो इज नंबर ऑफ पुअर टू द टोटल पॉपुलेशन एंड कैन मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब रे प्लानिंग कमीशन एस्टिमेट करूचे मेथोडोलॉजी केनटा सुरेश तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब okay this one we understood so all these it shows that both in Odisha as well as in India the poverty have declined considerably right in large extent because the various policies and because the various programs the government of India have taken and have been they are taking also right so this one we understood it is also last official estimate 32.5 as for this one in fact there is also a gap between rural and urban we found in the gap that more people they are living in the rural areas so tar use kana it means the government need to be focused on the rural areas to eradicate it right ए जिनिस टा लिखि देबे होला पॉज करके लिखवनो फाइन ना so बुझी गला ई पार्ट टा next so far we understood meaning of poverty next even if it is very much various dimensions are there but we mainly focused on absolute poverty then estimations of poverty okay and then, in fact another committee was also there as I already told in the year 2012 planning commission was constituted named as Rangarajan committee C Rangarajan was the chairman of that okay they have also suggested but that methodology so far it has not been accepted by the government of India okay and what he said कि केते टन दरकार थिला गुटे people से केते टन दरकार as for the Rangarajan methodology it is how much 972 in the rural areas 972 in the rural areas out urban areas मान 1407 बा 1407 clear but this thing have not been accepted by the government of India so far right okay next one so he understood this one in fact are we good in this padwa good is very very important कि हमें तो एक्सेप्ट कहता कला तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब रे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्सेप्ट कर से मेथोडोलॉजी तस ना बट देन डाटा कलेक्शंस के करसे हु कलेक्ट द डाटा it collect the data by NSSO National Sample Survey Office right NSSO can ministry under आउचे Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation fine Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementations our last and data 2011-12 रे इंडिया रे poverty 21.92 पाहला हला एटा केन बेसिस रे एनएसएसओ रो 68th राउंड ऑफ सर्वे बेसिस रे 68th राउंड ऑफ सर्वे ऑफ consumption expenditure, right? So this one we understood. 68th round of survey. सीजन कोर्सेजन एनएसएसओ आगरू काना करा होतला एटा भी गोटे क्वेश्चन आसी पारे बिफोर 1993-94 बिफोर 93-94 गोटे बेसिस एंडा कहा जाउतला यूनिफॉर्म रिसोर्स पीरियड हिसाब करा होतला जेंडा की यूनिफॉर्म रिसोर्स पीरियड और एटा मिक्स्ड रेफरेंस पीरियड यूनिफॉर्म रिसोर्स पीरियड और एटा मिक्स्ड रेफरेंस पीरियड हम बुझला किसी कंफ्यूजन बुझानी है ठीक है न जे कंफ्यूजन हो जात क्लियर पॉवर्टी लाइन के एस्टिमेट किए करूचे प्लानिंग कमीशन केन बेसिस रे करूचे से मेथोडोलॉजी काना वेरियस टास्क ग्रुप अछि तार केन टास्क ग्रुप तो जानी गला वर्किंग ग्रुप वाईके अलग लकड़ा वाला सुरेश तेंदुलकर देन रंगराजन केनटा के एक्सेप्ट करा वाला रंगराजन सॉरी तेंदुलकर कमिटी मेथोडोलॉजी हिसाब रे केवे सेटा 2009 से तेंदुलकर कमिटी जे मेथोडोलॉजी तो मेथोडोलॉजी सेटा बट जे डाटा कलेक्शन हवा की करूचे एनएसएसओ जे डाटा कलेक्शंस करवा सेटा केन गुटे रेफरेंस पीरियड हिसाब रे एक्चुअली सेटा आगुरु यूनिफॉर्म रिसोर्स पीरियड हिसाब रे करा होतला बट 1993-94 पूरा मिक्स्ड रेफरेंस पीरियड हिसाब रे करा होछ तार माने से डाटा कलेक्शंस करसन कि गुटे पर्सन्स क्लोथिंग रे केते टका खर्चा करूचे फूड रे सो व्हेन द पांचटा जिनिस बट जिनिस जानि तो 1993-94 पूरा मिक्स्ड रेफरेंस पीरियड वाज यूज्ड बाय एनएसएसओ क्लियर इधर फुल फॉर्म आसवा फाइन गॉट इट ओके तो हमें in this way we understood that estimation of poverty what estimations of poverty केतरा पार्ट हमें जानला poverty रो मीनिंग तापर हमें तार एस्टिमेशन जानला एस्टिमेट इंडिया रे अंदर करा होची भी बुझला हमें एबे देखमा तार मेजरमेंट बा आइडेंटिफिकेशंस ऑफ पुअर पीपल बा आइडेंटिफिकेशंस ऑफ पुअर क्लियर तो बुझी गेलो पॉवर्टी रे काना क्वेश्चन एब्सोल्यूट रिलेटिव इंडिया रे एस्टिमेशन रे केस हु एस्टिमेट द पॉवर्टी प्लानिंग कमीशंस केतरा कमिटी क्लियर आइडेंटिफिकेशंस हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई ए पर्सन इज पुअर हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई ए पर्सन इज पुअर राइट बुझना हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई ए पर्सन इज पुअर एंड हमर इंडिया रे केनता करे करा होजे सो फार आइडेंटिफिकेशंस ऑफ पॉवर्टी इज वेरी वेरी इंपोर्टेंट गाइस इठानु बोनेड क्वेश्चन आसवा कि because when we identify a person is poor then the government will target them and provide all the facilities mean all the basic facilities to them आगरो काना करा होतला बीपीएल सर्वे करा होतला काना करा होतला बीपीएल सर्वे करा होतला के करूतला मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट के करूतला मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट आ अर्बन एरिया रे जे अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री करूतला राइट अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री ना काना अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री ना काना अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री रो ना काना फर्स्ट तो एटा केन बेसिस रे बीपीएल सर्वे करा जाउ आ से बेसिस रे आइडेंटिफाई करा ऐसे बीपीएल सेंसस भी कहे ऐसे ओके आ एटा पहला करी 8 5 ईयर प्लान 1992 रे बीपीएल सेंसस करा बीपीएल सेंसस तापर तो नेक्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान 9 केनदा 1997 रे 9th 5 ईयर प्लान 1990 रे 9th 5 ईयर प्लान बीपीएल सर्वे ओके बीपीएल सेंसस केतरा 9th 5 ईयर प्लान रे 9th 5 ईयर प्लान तापर 2002 रे 10th 5 ईयर प्लान रे बीपीएल सेंसस कंडक्ट करा हिचे बाय होम मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट फाइन क्लियर आओ अर्बन एरियाज लाइक मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन urban areas रे किए, or in order to identify the BPL families in the urban areas, it is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviations. It is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviations. Fine. बुझिगले रूरल एरियाज रे किए बुझना मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट आओ अर्बन एरियाज रे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन पॉवर्टी एलिवेशंस फाइन दिस वन इज वेरी इंपोर्टेंट गाइस तो आइडेंटिफाई केनता करा जिबा बीपीएल सेंसस करा जाउतिला और से वे 8 सेंसस सॉरी हां बीपीएल सेंसस 8 5 year plan 1992 for 9 5 year 1997 तापर 2002 एबे केनता करा होचे ओके से हिसाब रे देखा जाउतला किछि गुडको का ऑटोमेटिकली एक्सक्लूड करा होतला और तापर फिर आइडेंटिफाई करा होतला कंजप्शन एक्सपेंडिचर जन कहितली से फाइन तो in order to identify a person is poor or non poor the BPL census was conducted and the BPL census in the year 1992 during 8 5 year plan was conducted in further after that 9 5 year plan 1997 then 2002 was conducted and on that basis BPLs were identified in early phase right clear एबे केनता करा होछ देखिस एटा ଗୋଟେ important ଜିନିଷ ତ ଦୁଇ ତିनटा ଜିନିଷ असबा that one is the SECC that is SECC that is SECC what is it full form में असबा socio-economic caste census 2011 at present the identifications of poor peoples are on the basis of socio-economic caste census in the year 2011 and actually Ministry of Rural Development it appointed a committee under the chairmanship of Dr. N.C. Saxena and he had suggested that so SECC socio-economic caste census 2011 can committee or recommendations thila कहला Dr. N.C. Saxena who Dr. N.C. Saxena and who constituted this committee. This committee was constituted by Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India. Our estimations तो अलगा टा सर जानी था, but social identification केंता है गुटे लोग केते poor माने के poor अच्छे के non poor अच्छे से जिनिस टा जानवाल लगी socio-economic caste census use कराए से आ से basis रही जितने भी poverty alleviation program अच्छे से basis में तांकु दिया है से तामने इंदिरा आवास योजना हो घर हो टॉयलेट हो सब जिनिस इनफैक्ट फूड्स हो all these things on the basis of at present SECC data can committee Dr. N.C. Saxena who constituted it was constituted by Ministry of Rural Development fine और से basis रे SECC रे तीन प्रकार क्लासिफिकेशन छै गुटे एक्सक्लूडेड देखा जीवा केतरा आइटम से तांगर पाखे थिबा माने लग्जरी जिनिस माने थिबा तांके आर नॉन पोर कहला एक्सक्लूडेड तार पर तांको आउ केते उनको यदि धरिना पूरा गरीब थिबे हल्ला तांको लैंड नै थिबा जॉब नै थिबा तार ऑटोमेटिकली इंक्लूडेड आ उटे हला अदर्स बुझना तो SECC 2011 है बेसिस द तीन प्रकार क्लासिफिकेशन अछि excluded automatically included and others these are the peoples they are entitled to get government's incentives or government's benefit fine can commit engineer strike clear engineer strike लिखि दियो automatically excluded जनता तांगर पाखे जदि किछि एसेट थिबा इनकम थिबा ताहले वेलफेयर स्कीम्स रो समान नै कोन धनी माने मेनली आ इंक्लूडेड कहले धरिन्य तांगर पाखे पैसा पत्र नै थिबा बहुत ही गरीब थिबे तो ऑटोमेटिकली इंक्लूडेड तार फैमिली मेंबर के यदि इनकम सोर्सेस नै थिबे इनकम अर्नर तो ऑटोमेटिकली इंक्लूड अदर्स वाला देखा जाता क्लियर तो SECC 2011 that helps to identify the poor peoples in our country right it is help in order to mana SECD data it helps in the implementations of various government programs clear because it allows evidence based information कि केते कैलोरी सेटा इट वाज वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स थिला ना मेथोडोलॉजी जेंडा पर इन एविडेंस जानू जन जण कर पाथे नाही ना ताके दियो तो एससीसी डाटा 2011 कैन कमिटी हैज इन वेरी वेरी इंपोर्टेंट राइट एबे गुटे जिनिस हम देखमा मेजरमेंट रा गुटे लेखला का कि पॉवर्टी कहले का खाली जने पर्सनस खावा कि नहीं पाले कि बेसिक नेसेसिटी नहीं पाले ताहे खाली पुअर कहमा नुहस पॉवर्टी हैज एन ब्रॉडर मीनिंग ऑफ दैट ओके जने जो डिसीजन ते नहीं पारवा ना we can say that that person is poor in real sense. In fact, there is not measure on that basis. But a person, in fact, there is not measure on that basis. But a person's must be यदि धरिनिया तार माने काना we can say poverty is a situation's denial of choices हमको हम तार choice जेंडा अच्छे से सही हिसाब रे नहीं कर पावा और it is the violations of basic humanity right human rights. In fact, our father of nations Mahatma Gandhi said, it is the cruelest form of violence. It is the worst form of violence. कहते के महात्मा गांधी. It is the worst form of violence. It is the worst form of violence. In fact, it is the violations of basic humanity, माने human right we call it. Basic human rights, violations of human rights. In fact, International Day of Eradication of Poverty भी मनाया जायसी प्रति वर्ष 17 अक्टोबर प्रति वर्ष 17 अक्टोबर okay clear this one you understood तार माने जने पर्सन डिसीजन ते नहीं पारबा जने पर्सन पार्ट पढ़ी नहीं पारबा जने पर्सन बेसिक खाना पीना नहीं पाई पारबा सैनिटेशंस नहीं पाई पारबा राइट प्रॉपर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यदि नहीं नो धरिन कार्ड यूज करूचे गैस बदलला ई सब जिनिस हम वाइडर मीनिंग करता राइट तो yes the in the world as well as in various part the wider meanings try to define the poverty and in that regards one is the UNDP के United Nations Development Program and Oxford Poverty of Human Development Oxford Poverty of Human Development Initiative. Here, United Nations Development Program and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. UNDP, United Nations Development Program and Oxford Poverty Human Development Initiative. ये दुही जन मिसी करी multi dimensions. Okay, they have tried to define the poverty in the various dimensions. That is called as multi-dimensional poverty index. In fact, they released the United Nations. They release in every July. Okay, in each year in the month of July, right? ये ताले here question डे आसवा multi-dimensional poverty index के measure करसी UNDP आउ OPH UNDP तो जानी जा समझते इधर full form भी जानी तो Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative काना कहसी Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative Institute ये दुहियनो मिसिर करसन क्लियर तो United Nations Development Program and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative मिसि करी करसन काना रिलीज करसन मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स कैन बेसिस रे हेल्थ बेसिस रे एजुकेशन बेसिस रे आउ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बेसिस आउ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बेसिस फाइन द क्लियर एंड इंडिया रा रिपोर्ट सुनबो बोला पाया हिबो गाइस इंडिया इज वेरी वेरी लेट हमें नहीं कहसा इंडिया एते बड़ इकोनॉमी से 7 ट्रिलियन बट जदि है बेसिस रे हम देखमा ग्लोबल मल्टी पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स लास्ट इन द 2011 रो जे डाटा देखमा इंडिया 66 रैंक आउट ऑफ 109 कंट्रीज केते 66 रैंक आउट ऑफ 109 countries as per multi-dimensional poverty index in which 2021 data release is kete 66 out of 109 countries fine आउ केन बेसिस रे मैं कहली हेल्थ एजुकेशन आउ स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग हेल्थ रे फिर चाइल्ड मोर्टालिटी माने हेल्थ रो भी केतरा कंपोनेंट निया हिचे एजुकेशन रो केतरा कंपोनेंट निया हिचे ई सब जिनिस राइट फाइन ओके हेल्थ रो काना चाइल्ड मोर्टालिटी और न्यूट्रिशन एजुकेशन रो काना निया हिचे तार इंडिकेटर्स जेंटा इयर्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग स्कूल अटेंडेंस और स्टैंडर्ड लिविंग रो कुकिंग फ्यूल हला सैनिटेशन हला ड्रिंकिंग वाटर हाउसिंग इलेक्ट्रिसिटी assets etc. Okay, केनकेंडा health और child mortality और nutrition clear by the way बुझी गला health education how standard of living fine से regard रे in fact नीति आयोग के नीति आयोग has also constituted गोटे task force 2015 रे केन ईयर 2015 रे माने वाइस चेयरमैन जी हमर थिले नीति आयोग रे अरविंद पानवेरिया रो चेयरमैनशिप राइट और नीति आयोग भी गोटे मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स ई बेसिस रे ही बा हेल्थ एजुकेशन सब स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बा है मेथोडोलॉजी रे ही पब्लिश करछे ओके और लास्ट एंड पब्लिश करछे से बेसिस रे इंडिया रो पॉवर्टी केते जानछो बोले एटा तो ओडिसा रो कहितले 2011 रो बट एवर रिसेंटली जन पब्लिश करी छे ग्लोबल मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स हला बा ओके कैन बेसिस रे क्लियर तो हम बुझला हम जिनिसटा इंडिया रो पॉवर्टी केते से बेसिस रे जानछो लेट मी टेल यू लिटिल इंडिया हैज रिलीज्ड के रिलीज करछे मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स इंडिया रो नीति आयोग कैन बेसिस रे एज एन वर्ल्ड और यूएनडीपी और ओपीएचआई जेंडा करी से बेसिस रे ही तो हेथरे इंडिया रो पॉवर्टी केते करंट लेवल ऑफ पॉवर्टी एटा ठीक देखमा हेथरे सबुतरु माने गरीब राज्य स्टेट केनटा कहला बिहार व्हिच वन बिहार 51.9 अछन इंडिया रे जन नीति आयोग करी कि सबनु गरीब कहला बिहार पर कि होछे यूपी पर कि होछे बिहार पर झारखंड अछि सॉरी झारखंड तापर यूपी अछि ओके एंड ओडिसा केते नंबर रे अछि 9th रे अछि ओके ओडिसा केते रैंक रे अछि 9th रे अछि आ क्लियर रिपोर्टटा और लास्ट आडे केन मन अछन केरला गोवा सिक्किम Tamil Nadu, they have registered the lowest poverty across India and bottom of the index, right? So who are the poorer states? Bihar, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, they have emerged the poorest state in India. According to what? Niti Ayog's first multi-dimensional poverty index report. नीति आयोग रो पहला एमपीआई रिपोर्ट हिसाब रे बिहार झारखंड और उत्तर प्रदेश ओडिसा रो रैंक केते 9 त माने आवर सिचुएशंस हैज इंप्रूव्ड मेनी फोल्ड राइट बुझी गला हम कारण बुझला मीनिंग तापर एस्टिमेशंस आइडेंटिफिकेशंस इनफैक्ट आउ भी गुटे लास्ट इन से रिलेट टू ऑल दिस कोर्स कि वर्ल्ड बैंक आल्सो डिफाइंस एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी हेटा भी गुटे क्वेश्चन आसी पारे से काना से गुटे पर्सन्स जदी 1 डे रे $1.25 रु कम इनकम अर्न करू जे ताहाके तारना पुअर को हाई कीटा कहसी वर्ल्ड बैंक डिफाइंड इंटरनेशनल पॉवर्टी लाइन केते फिक्स कराई जे $1.25 एबे हटा के बढ़ाई करे $1.90 कर दिया सो वी अंडरस्टूड गाइस कि poverty is a great challenge. At present also there are no doubt we have improved a lot. Large number of people they have came out of poverty, but still poverty is a challenge is there. And yes, the government have taken large number of steps to eradicate the poverty, to eliminate the poverty. And in that regard, now in the next class I will tell in detail actually how the government have taken, what the steps the government have taken to eradicate the poverty. Government have adopted two approaches. One to economic growth. जदि इकोनॉमी पूरा टोटली ग्रोथ हवा, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ more than 8%, हला ताहले automatically the employment would be generated, and once the employment would be generated, automatically the poverty would be reduced. Another one, government targeted the poverty, तार माने डायरेक्ट लोगों को फूड दिया जाउछे through the National Food Security Act हला, through the इंदिरा आवास योजना, through the food माने इंदिरा आवास योजना में ना चेंज है छला, तापर से थ्रू कान घर दिया जाउछे. Then MG Norega, employment generated पूरा guarantee is there. Further food, all these things. Then health, Ayushman Bharat, all these things we will discuss. That also target the poverty, and that is the reasons. Last जन हमें rank नहीं देखना, यदि global multidimensional poverty index India like would separate chapter to mention that India reduced its poverty in many fold because of various things. And next class we will discuss in detail on actually what the various steps the government have taken to eradicate the poverty. Clear? Estimations, measurement, और तार continuous टिके बने करी लेखी दो also. Okay. And in fact at the end I will tell Mother Teresa गोटे इनिस कहसन poverty. Mother Teresa काना कहसन इनचो God does not create poverty. We do, because we don't share. God does not create poverty. We do because we don't share. So we have to share, guys. So if someone is feeling hunger, and if we understood that, we should provide that, right? With whatever the thing is that, and that will be the greatest deed. Punya Gordava Sevana, and that is the success of life. Clear tha? Visible lagi. In fact, Nelson Mandela भी उठे कहसन, हैला, बढ़िया जिनिस छे. Nelson Mandela यांचा था, से कहसन, poverty is not an accident like slavery and apartheid. It is man-made and can be removed by the actions of human being. So we need to take certain actions how to poverty free. In fact, our neighboring areas, right? So have a great time, guys. That's all. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life, have a healthy, happy and great time ahead, all my dear students. Thanks.